Today is my Joy of Blue collaboration share, which means I'm sharing with you all of the different things I made this month using the color blue. Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. This is the Joy of Blue collaboration, which is hosted by Sarah, who is crafting and relaxing here on YouTube. And her favorite color is blue, and she is just encouraging others to craft with the color blue as well. There is a list of participants down in the description box below who have also crafted with blue this month, so please be sure to check them out. And this month, I am still working with scraps. I am bound and determined to make a dent in my scrap stash. So I played with blue scraps again, and I did make cards. I took a few blue patterns I knew I wouldn't really know how to use in a card so much. And then I just took some other blue patterns that were already in strips and made some bookmarks. And so I glued these onto the back of some chipboard, which came off of like a paper pad. So it was like the back side of a paper pad. So the front side is like that cardboard color, and then the back side is like the shiny white. So I glued my paper down to the cardboard colored side so that the back side of the bookmark would have the shiny white and the other side would have the pattern. And then just use some yarn from my stash to make tassels. So I have a variety. And for these, I had this UK paper left from a project a long time ago. And so if you like UK, if you're a UK fan or know someone who is and could make use of these bookmarks, let me know. I will send them your way. Otherwise, I'll just probably go ahead and donate them with the rest of them. But the other paper I wasn't really sure what to do with also was this blueprint paper. I had made a project for my husband, again, gosh, years and years ago, like probably before kids were born. So we're looking at 11 years ago at least. And I just wasn't sure. I mean, I probably could have put it on a Father's Day type card, but they were strips. And so I was like, you know what? Bookmarks, bookmarks, bookmarks. So I have a handful of the long skinny bookmarks. And then I also made some page markers, like the hidden paperclip page markers. So these slide on, there's a paperclip inside, and they just hook on. They can be like a bookmark, page marker, a decoration in a journal page, whatever. So I just did a handful of these, and again, I was looking for pattern paper strips, and then I also brought in some cardstock strips, and then any embellishments that I had that coordinated. So the good thing is, last month for Joy of Blue, I made a lot of blue embellishments too, using up some of the smaller scraps. And so now this month I'm finally getting to make use of some of those blue embellishments that I made. So that is good. This one I didn't, instead of an embellishment, I just brought in a skinnier strip of paper. So got another handful of those, and then I also did make some cards. And I think only one I really followed a sketch. Otherwise I was just using either some card bases that I had in my stash already and kind of following the shape or size of those, or just trying to use up the scraps. This is similar to a card sketch that I have, but I just kind of used whatever shape, as long as it was a square or rectangle that I could use. So have one bigger square or rectangle and then one smaller one, and then a strip that goes across the middle, and then just an embellishment and sentiment. So this is actually a paint smushing embellishment that my daughters and I made last year. We did some paint smushing to kind of use up some old acrylic paints that were almost done. And this one I think was already cut into a flower shape. It was a chipboard piece that we had. And so that turned out really pretty with different blues. And there's like a little vein of green glitter, and then there's some white. And so I just brought it in to go with this flower pattern over here. And when I was pulling out my gray or my blue scraps, I also pulled in colors that would work with blue. So I wasn't just using like a bunch of different shades of blue, I guess. So I brought in a lot of grays, and I brought in some yellows and some greens. So I had this pattern, and so I decided to use a yellow strip. This one is just blues and grays, and again, use another one of my flower embellishments that I made last month. This is the one sketch that I used, and it doesn't have a name. So, but I just used it because I had some square pieces and I have a ton of strips. So I may use that particular sketch again because I have a lot of these strips that I think I could use up with that. And then the rest of these were just pieced together with whatever scraps that I could find. So here, brought in some blues and grays. This is a sentiment I printed from my silhouette, and it just layered it on some blue cardstock. And this is actually, it's kind of an A2 size card, but it's like shorter because I think it was what it was left after I cut down a mini slimline. Like I always want to try and use up the rest of that heavy duty cardstock. So I just made a shorter A2. This was a circle that I already had cut, and it was on like a sticker sheet. Like so I had used a Xyron runner at some point, and so it was already adhesive. So I just took 2 pieces of blue. I didn't have any big scraps of blue that would be big enough for a card mat on their own. I was looking for like something to coordinate with the lighter blue circles in that big blue circle. And so I found 2 pieces that I just kind of grouped together to make a card mat, and then used gray to cover the seam that you would see, and then did my circle here on the edge and cut some off, and then just brought in a sentiment and some white stars. And I do have pattern paper or cardstock scraps on the insides of all the cards. This one I just brought in, I think I had cut some butterflies last month when I was cutting blue, because I had, like I said, I usually pull out gray to go with the blue. I had 2 12-inch strips of this anchor, navy blue anchor paper, and then I had a bunch of gray pieces that were similar in size and shape. So I just kind of used the same format for all. I put the blue anchor here on the left, and then the gray kind of on the right, and then my sentiment here in the middle. And then this one had a lot of gray showing, so I decided to bring in a scrap of the navy blue anchor. So these are all similar in format, just different gray patterns. This one I was trying to use up this Superman pattern, and so I just matted it on some yellow, found a blue cardstock that matched the blue background, and then went with a red card mat. So you're really playing off the Superman colors. And then I just thought this sentiment was fun, so I stamped it and then kind of cut it at an angle around so that it was kind of edgy, and then it decided to throw in one more strip of yellow that I had left to use that up. I had one little square of this birthday paper, and so I had a bunch of this green vellum in my scrap bags, so I just decided to kind of use the green and this turquoise piece as the mat, and then have my square. Brought in some vinyl strips here just to kind of add some interest at the bottom along with the white circles. This alligators were fun, so I paired this one with some green and like a light blue and white polka dot. And then I felt like it needed something other than just a sentiment, so I had a green star also pre-cut in my stash, and so I just used that with my sentiment. These were some like scallopy, they're the 3.5 by 5 inch size, and they like had the scallop. For some reason I had cut them on my silhouette a long time ago, but I never used them because I didn't cut the paper to go with them. So I just laid my card down and then my pattern paper and kind of traced. And then on this one, I wanted it so that it would have like the white border, and then just kind of brought in another scrap here to go with the gray, and then some embellishments and sentiment, and then put a strip of that same polka dot paper on the inside. This one, I traced it so it would cover the whole card front. And then just brought in some navy polka dot and navy chevron, and then felt it needed something else, so I just added, these were some gray shapes that I had punched and cut last month when I was making embellishments. And then these are these are more of the normal 3.5 by 5. I think this one's a little skinnier. And then this, again, I went through a period where I was just saving everything. So this pattern, this polka dot pattern, was a note card that someone had sent me as a thank you card, and I liked it. So I just saved it, and so I was like, well, we'll go ahead and use it up as a card mat. And so I just trimmed, like it was still whole, so I just trimmed down the note card into 2 pieces and used it as 2 different card mats. Brought in the stamped flower image that's been in my stash for a long time, and then like a turquoise that kind of matched the bigger circles to go behind it. This is the other side of that note card, and this time I just brought in one of the hello words and a scallop that I had cut last month when I was cutting the blue scraps, and then just added some flowers in the center there. So I'm probably going to be playing with blue scraps again next month, folks, because I still have a lot of blue scraps, but I'm working my way through them, and I'm bound and determined to kind of use up a bunch of these, because I know once we get into fall and craft shows, I'm going to have a whole bunch more blue scraps left from my silhouette projects that I make. So I'm really trying to get some of these used up before then. So you will probably be seeing blue scrap projects from me next month as well. But this is what I have for you this month. Again, be sure to check out the other participants to see what kind of projects they made with blue this month. Thank you guys so very much for your time today, and hope you all have a very crafty day.